Welcome to Horsemanship with Kim Samator. Today is our 5th session with our 3-year-old filly named Philly. And basically I'm going to be doing a review of what we've been doing all week. Philly's been learning a lot of new things. The tarp she just learned about yesterday and she was hesitant to walk over it, and today you can see no hesitation whatsoever. It's a very easy task for her to go over my tarp or parachute there with multicolors. Makes a funny sound when you walk over it, and she's very, very good with putting her feet through that obstacle. She's nice and calm and relaxed. She's doing very well. And she'll even back over it blindly, which is really, really great for her. I'm going to pick up the parachute and start using it to work the sides of her body, reminding her that we can touch her sides with it. She's had this worked with her one time before, so at first here she's probably going to need a little bit reminder of what it's all about. So I'm going to leave it in a little pile there and let her sniff it and walk over it again in a different shape before I pick it up again and start waving it near her body, and I'll gradually work closer to get her comfortable to it, giving her rewards for sniffing it, looking at it, basically accepting it. So again, not touching her body until she starts to relax. There's not flinching happening. And then we're going to run the tarp over her body so that she knows it's nothing to be afraid of. It's all comfortable. She's pretty relaxed, wondering what it's about. And we're going to go to the other side. She's got to sniff it again. This filly is really curious. She's a smart horse, just having a really good time working with her. And up and over it goes. And I like to make sure that I run my tarp or my parachute over the horse's ears, down its face, and down its hindquarters, so that I know she's comfortable with something unfamiliar or moving all over the parts of her body, front to back. Then we're going to step her off with it, carrying it. And I know she's going to step it off when she walks, and I'm looking for a nice relaxed response when it eventually falls off. And she doesn't even care. Doing a good job. So I had the tarp go over one side, so obviously we've got to put it back on the other side. And repeat the action again. This time we're going to ask her to walk on a lunge, so a little bit more independent movement here. She doesn't have the security of me standing right next to her. I want to see how she does this way. And again, she's very accepting of it, nothing to worry about. And she's going to try and boss me a little bit. I'm just going to send her back out. I'm not going to worry about that the tarp fell off, because I'm more worried about making sure that she is respectful. And she didn't even notice that the tarp fell off, and that was good. She's not worried. I'm not worried. Okay, so again, the tarp's going to go back on the other side to have her work on the lunge going the other direction. And again, lunging on a line for her is still a little bit new, so she presents me with a little bit of questions and challenges here every so often to want to change directions without being told. And the point is just to redirect her and get her moving in the direction that I'd like her to go. And I'm going to ignore those bossy ears and just put her to work. When she's done, we're going to bring her back to center and regroup for our next activity. And so we're going back to our hooking on, and she follows quite nicely. I'm going to ask her to back. She's still learning to back without a lead line, so I'm going to tap her a little bit in the chest. I might add a little bit of pressure to the halter just to set her up for success to help her. We've got some distractions going on at the ranch today. There's some loose horses free lunging in the arena that is just to our left there. So she has some distractions working around her, as well as the dogs playing in the yard. And so she's losing focus a couple of times, but overall she's keeping pretty focused on me. And so when she loses focus due to those distractions, I'm not going to discipline her for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to help her to understand that there can be distractions, and as long as she sticks with me, she doesn't have anything to worry about. So that's why you might see me touch the halter for just a second to redirect her and remind her, oh yeah, we are partnered up here, because she's really not trying to be disobedient and not follow me. She's just getting distracted because she's young and wondering at what everyone's about. You can see those two horses next to us. They're turned out there a little bit. And later in the session, their owner will come in and catch them and remove them. And she gets a little distracted for a minute, but she comes right back into focus. So this is the first time that I am picking up her feet without the use of ropes. And how I teach my horses to pick up their feet is I cue them with a point on the shoulder, that I press my hand into the shoulder so that their weight gets off of the leg that I want to pick up and goes onto the opposite leg, so that when I ask for the foot that I want to be picked up, their weight is not standing on it, which makes it easier for me to cue the foot to pick up. So my left hand there is touching her shoulder, pushing her weight over as I pick up the right foot. And again, I have not done any footwork other than picking them up with ropes until this point. So this is the first day that I've put my hands on her to pick up her feet without the use of any ropes, and she's doing excellent. Her feet come up pretty quickly. She's not real resistant. She's not scared. This filly is just incredibly smart and willing. And of course the back feet there. And we can stretch it out. She's more concerned about the rope there and what it's all about than that I'm picking up her feet, which is nice. She's just relaxed. And I'm moving her around for the benefit of the camera. Normally, if I were doing this, I wouldn't be moving her around so much if the camera weren't there, but I want our viewers to be able to see everything that I'm doing as best as possible. So flipping her around for you is why we're doing that, so the camera can see. And I tap my hand on the bottom of her feet because I'm preparing her for a visit from the farrier. She's due to have her feet trimmed, and I want her to know that any noise or bumping or tapping on her feet is going to be acceptable and nothing she needs to worry about. So that's why not only do I pick up the feet, but I tap the bottom of them and let her know that, you know, little tapping and bumping is going to be okay and nothing scary for when the farrier comes. And we're going to move her out in the round pen before we saddle her up. This will be her second saddling session today. So before we do that, I want to make sure that her mind is where it should be. And so we're going to move her feet a little bit to expend a little bit of energy and also set the bar, reminding her that the herd leader in our two-man herd is me. And she's questioning there a little bit. And so I'm just going to send her back out to the rail and tell her that she needs to keep going and doing what she's told. And I'm going to switch here to my longer rope. That lead line I had was a little bit short for using as an extension of my arm. Again, as stated in my previous video, my preference is not to use whips. I prefer to use a rope as an extension of my arm. I like tools that are simple. I don't like a lot of cracking whips. It's just not my thing. I like to work as gently as possible with these young horses so that eventually when you go to lunge a horse, you don't have to use a whip or a line at all. They just lunge off your body and voice cues, and they're very easy to handle. What's really smart about this filly is she's picking up to turn and face me to change directions on her own because of the light lunge work that we've done on the line. She understands that she turns and faces me on the line to change directions. So when she's loose, she's recognizing that her job is to do the same thing and give me two eyes instead of using her rear to turn to me. And she's doing that pretty much on her own just through the act of repetition of what we do each day. Very smart little horse. She got a little disrespectful there by cocking her hip towards me, so I'm going to send her back out and let her know that that's not acceptable behavior. And there again, just going to drive her forward. And she didn't want to quite listen to my woe. She turned her rear to me, and so I'm going to keep her going until I get an acceptable stop. Again, she turned her rear and is not paying attention to me, so we're going to redirect her and try again. And there we go. I'm going to work in arcs back and forth to see if I can get her to come to me and hook on. Looking to pick up that eye. My eyes are low. I'm not looking her dead in the eye. And here we are with our first saddling session for the day. Again, this is her second saddling session in her life. So I'm again reintroducing the saddle blanket from yesterday. Same as I did it the first time. So this is all very familiar. I just repeat the process. She's very calm and relaxed about this. I like that she's curious about the saddle pad, looking to smell it. Not worried about me setting it down on her back or anything like that. And the one thing that I do when I'm saddling these young horses is I go through the motions exactly as I do for a horse that already knows how to be saddled. I don't want to tiptoe around them. I don't want to give them any reason to be leery of that saddle. So if I'm calm and relaxed like it's an everyday occurrence, they're going to feel comfortable that it really is an everyday occurrence and they have nothing to worry about. So I let the saddle flap and make noise and, you know, just behave as if I would on a horse that's totally comfortable with being saddled. And then, of course, whatever you do to one side, we're going to do to the other side. So the saddle's got to be shown to her on the other side of the body, and we're going to do that now. And her reward for accepting that saddle on her back is me removing the saddle. You know, we're putting it up there, rocking it around, and so when I see that she's comfortable, I take the saddle away. Tell her she's a good girl. So now that we've done that, we're going to go for saddling her up. For real this time. We're going to cinch everything down. I have a full rigging on this saddle. I start from the very beginning with a full rigging so the horse knows that there's absolutely no difference. It's easier to take away tack later in life than it is to add tack later in life. So this saddle is equipped with a full front and back cinch and a breast collar. And she's going to be cinched up tight enough to ride. She's on the front cinch, and she's also going to be cinched down on the rear cinch just as I were to use it on a finished horse. That way she's accepting the pressure front and back from the very beginning and she has nothing to worry about later in life. And I do work in stages a little bit here with the cinch. I'm going to tighten it up snug, and a little bit later on, before I let her lunge at liberty, I will snug that saddle up again to make sure that it is absolutely on the horse and as tight as I would want it for riding, because that is the goal. I want to be able to cinch that saddle down as tight as I would when I am ready to climb on her back. I don't want a loose saddle on a green horse. That's the last thing I want to experience, especially if they decide to buck or do something silly. I have a feeling this filly is going to be pretty good when we go to ride her the first time, but we're going to prepare her the same way as I would for any horse, which is to keep it cinched up tight, so that we don't have any possibility of the saddle rolling or getting caught underneath her or anything like that. And we're tying off the front cinch here and snagging up the back cinch. You can see it is snug against her belly, not overly tight, but it does make contact with her belly so she can feel it. So it's going to hold that back of the saddle down just as it was designed to do. And then we're going to attach the breast collar just like any other horse. Just with these babies we have a little bit of extra adjustments because they're a little bit smaller than when they are full grown, so a couple extra wraps there and she's good to go. So now she's all saddled up, and I'm going to step up with her on the lead line just to make sure that she's comfortable. No explosions. She's doing really well. Again, this is only the second time she's been saddled in her life. She seems really comfortable. This was just how she reacted the first time we saddled her as well. And she's doing really, really well. I'm going to slap the saddle up there where I'd get on and off, jiggle it around, flap the stirrups, get her used to the saddle, has moving parts, and will make noise so that when I climb up there, none of that is something that she hasn't experienced before. Again, whatever we do to one side, we want to do to the other. And we're going to pet her and reward her for being a good girl, accepting all of those silly things we're doing. So here I'm going to check the cinch before I set her free. Make sure that that saddle's good and tight. I wouldn't want it to come off her while she's lunging. That could be very scary for her and a big setback if that were to happen. So we always want to set our horses up for success. And now that we're tight, I'm going to walk her around a little bit more just to make sure that she's still good with the pressure there on her cinch. And she is doing just fine. So we're going to unclip her and send her out to work. She steps off nice and easy. Little bit of a question there, but move her out and she moves into a canter, which is nice. Don't have any issues with her bucking with all those cinches and straps and back cinches. She's doing great. She doesn't mind that tarp hanging on the fence, our parachute, colors. It doesn't bother her. It doesn't bother her that the wind's moving it a little bit. She turned to face me to reverse. These are all great signs. What's really nice is even though she's got all this new tack on her, she hasn't lost focus of her basic groundwork skills. I really love that. My dog is kind enough to provide yet another distraction, and I really like that even though he is a distraction, Philly is still paying attention to me and working nicely in the arena. And she thought about turning her hip to me, and then she changed her mind and said, oh yeah, I give her my face and I get rewarded. So I give her a nice scratch, see if she'll come with me. Because next is the bridle. Now this is the first time that we're going to put the bridle on the horse. And I have a technique of how I like to bridle my horses. So we're going to clip on the lead rope here. Bring her back to the center of the round pin so that we can work with her. And how I like to handle my bridles, or when I halter a horse, is I take my right arm and I'm going to put it over the horse's neck and poll area so that I have control of the horse's head and body. And then as I do that, I will have my halter in my left hand and hand it to my right, drop it down in front of the face, and then it's very simple to get it into the mouth. Again, this is the first time she's being bridled. Just took my thumb and my index finger on the bars to open up her mouth. She has no idea what that piece of metal is in her mouth, so she's going to keep her mouth and her tongue going a little bit there. This is just a plain snaffle, nothing fancy. Little O-ring snaffle, very gentle. It's got some copper inlays. It's a very nice little beginning training bridle, tightening her throat latch there. And she's just wondering what that bit's all about. For the first time I decided not to put the noseband on her because she does have the rope halter on her nose there in place of it. So I'm going to take the reins and I'm going to tie him to the saddle here. Not with very much pressure, basically just to get him out of the way and know that there will be some contact on the snaffle bit itself. And I'm tying it with a really simple half hitch knot so that I can pull it out really quickly if something were to go wrong. And so I'm going to bring over to this other side and do the same thing. Again, I'm tying to the D-ring that holds the breast collar. Just a nice simple knot that can be taken out really quickly in a pinch. I've also got snaps on the ends of my reins that are on that O-ring, so I could unsnap that there too. I'm going to lead her around just to make sure that she's okay with that. What this also does is gives me an opportunity to double check that I did get those reins even In this case, that was a little long on the one side, so we're going to adjust that. And then when we know she's okay, she's going to lunge again at liberty, bridled up, with the saddle, and she's looking good. This filly is really coming along nicely, and I'm expecting her first ride to be a successful one. And it's pretty typical for babies to keep mouthing that snaffle bit the first time. And it's not tied up real high in her mouth. She's probably got maybe one wrinkle right where we want it. And eventually she'll learn how to hold that bridle in her mouth with her mouth closed. Now the reason I didn't redirect her when she turned around there is because she came in and asked. She was trying to understand. She wasn't being resistant. She was honestly trying to understand what the next step was. So I allowed her to change directions and reverse because of how she approached me in asking for that change in direction. So there are rules in horsemanship, but sometimes we adjust them depending on what our horse communicates to us. And we ask her to stop, come in and face me. She's doing really good. I'm not going to do too much work with asking her to carry that bridle for today because it's the first time. So I want to make the session nice and short so that she understands it's no big deal. Everything's comfortable. We're relaxed. So I'm actually going to undo the reins from the sides of the saddle and take the bridle off, and I've got my hand down, careful to note that the bridle does not knock her in the teeth as it comes out, so that she gets no negative experience associated with that bridle. And we're just going to set that tack out of the way. And she's been a really good girl, so we're going to proceed to untacking her just like a regular trained horse. I'm not going to do it any different than I would with a horse that I've been saddling up for years. Back cinch first, breast collar next, and last but not least, we will take off the front cinch for safety purposes last. I really can't say enough nice things about this young horse. She's progressing in her training wonderfully. This is training session number 5. Like I said, again, her second time being saddled, her first time being bridled. She's very comfortable and relaxed. Her head is low. We've got licking and chewing. She's not running away from me. This horse just has a lot of promise in her future, and I expect her to be a wonderful ride for her owner. And we're going to tack up all the gear on the saddle so that when I pull it off, it's not going to wrap around my legs or hers. It just comes off nice and easy. And I'd say that was an excellent session for Philly. I'm really proud of her, and I can't wait to work with her next week. Thank y'all for watching.